So DICE is now working on bringing together more tweaks and changes for the final seasonal patch coming to Battlefield 1. It's called the Spring Update, and after this patch, coming at some point in the next couple of weeks, DICE is then moving to a monthly update cycle. And that means we should see faster changes, and that's better for everyone involved. A new patch went live on the CTE a few days ago with the release of the new night map, Nivelle Nights, and along with that patch came a few changes to some stuff that's been causing some annoyances among the community. We've got changes yet again to the AA cannons, nerfs to the darts dropped from planes, and a few other things as well. Let's start with those AA tweaks then. DICE has been going backwards and forwards with the AA cannons and the planes pretty much since the launch of the game, and they've never really been able to find a good middle ground. Well, they're taking another pass at it with the Spring Update, and this time we're seeing a buff towards infantry and the AA cannons. DICE is increasing the AA cannon blast damage multiplier against the planes. Now, it's individual to each plane, so pay attention here. For the fighter, it's been increased from 0.7 to 0.8. The attack plane is an increase from 0.7 to 0.75, and for the bomber, it's an increase from 0.6 to 0.65. And to add to those multiplier increases, DICE has also increased the size of the inner blast radius from 4 to 6 meters when the detonation is triggered by a vehicle, and that essentially widens the damaging effect. Now, from those numbers, I'm guessing you're thinking, well, that's not very much of a big change overall. They're just really small increments. But, as an infantry player, planes can absolutely batter you on some of the maps, and doing damage to them can be very difficult. So any kind of increase we get for the AA and the infantry in the game against planes, in my opinion, at the moment is a good one. So alongside these changes, DICE has also gone ahead and changed some of the damage multipliers for the sniper rifles when you land shots on planes. Again, this is individual to each plane type, so pay attention. For the fighter, the value is up to 1.2 from 1. For the attack plane, it's up to 0.9 from 0.75. And for the bomber, it's up to 0.375 from 0.3125. Lots of numbers there. But in practice, this means your shots from sniper rifles should do more damage to planes. Now, while infantry rarely have any kind of effect against the planes in the sky, unless you're like Stoddy or Mugs TV and you can snipe the pilot out of the plane, these new damage multipliers should at least act as a bit more of a deterrent. A little bit like the K-bullets against armoured vehicles. You won't be doing that much damage, but you should do enough to cause a little bit of an annoyance and potentially make the vehicle move off. And of course, any damage against planes, whilst it's trying to auto-repair, cancels that auto-repair. So this should definitely act as more of a deterrent now against pilots. And there's one final change for this scenario, AA and infantry versus vehicles. DICE has nerfed the darts in the fighter planes. Again, as an infantry player, for me, it seems stupidly easy for pilots to kill players on the ground just from a simple strafe run. And so this is set to improve the experience for infantry soldiers who have virtually no counter to the darts whatsoever. The reload time for the darts is being increased from 12 to 15 seconds. The blast damage is being nerfed from 20 to 16.7. The blast radius is being nerfed from 3 to 1.5 meters, and direct damage no longer hurts soldiers. This means pilots will now need to be more accurate with their dart strafing runs, as blast damage and the radius has been cut down, with the radius by 50%, which is quite a big deal. A quick tip that I always use, whenever you see a pilot coming in for a strafe run and you think they're going to drop darts on your head, it's always safer running towards the plane as it comes in, rather than running away from it. You'll widen the angle between yourself and the plane, and likely the darts will fly over your head, only hitting you with some of that splash damage. Now, with these changes, that splash damage should be reduced as well, because the radius has gone from 3 to 1.5, so the pilots need to be more accurate with their darts if they want to kill somebody. You should start to experience more situations where you survive these strafe runs, as opposed to seeing the pilot racking up a 5-kill feed, flying off into the distance, laughing his head off while you're sitting in the kill cam. Now, I know that most of these tweaks are in favour of infantry on the ground and the AA cannons against the planes, and likely this is going to cause some pilots a little bit of concern, but having spoken to a few decent pilots not too long ago, it's quite clear they find it extremely easy to go on massive kill streaks against infantry. Fighter planes especially, with those super effective darts, are literally the bane of my existence when playing a round of operations. Especially when there's a slightly open area and a few players are running across, a fighter pilot can just come in and take you all out with one strafe. These changes should make the situation a little bit more balanced. I mean, pilots still have the overwhelming control in that gunfight, but rather than being dumped on continuously, infantry have a few more tools at their disposal now. A few other things that DICE will be including in the spring update, I think. We'll be seeing map voting. Now, this was a feature that was added in the winter update, but this time it's coming to official servers. Previously, it was only an option that could be applied to rented servers, which I think confused a lot of people because they thought it was coming to official straight away, and that would allow the players to control which map they wanted to play next. And considering official servers see far more traffic overall, I think it would have been much better to put it in the winter update, but whatever, it's now going to be coming in the spring update. Soon you'll have the option to choose between 2 different maps that you can play next, and you'll see that appear on the victory screen as your score is totaled for the previous round. Grenade UI tweaks have been applied with this update as well, but it looks like that they might not make it into the spring update, and instead they will be applied in the May update the month after. But the UI does give slightly more guidance on when you're going to get your grenade back, and the big news, magic grenades are now gone. DICE has completely removed them from auto-resupplying into your inventory, and you actually have to seek out an ammo crate in order to resupply now. The timers have been extended, and they carry on in the background, so overall you'll still need to wait longer for you to get your grenade back, but they don't magically appear anymore, and you have to find an ammo crate in order to get your grenade back. Thank you very much, DICE, for listening to the community. Various small weapon issues have been fixed as well. For example, the Label had a few incorrect values. They've now been straightened out, so you might notice a little bit of difference in the performance, but overall, they are just very small tweaks. And something a little bit bigger, newer animations have been added to make sure all sniper rifles in the game now have separate cocking pieces. This was something that was missing from the launch of the game, and it wasn't a huge thing to miss out on, and based on time constraints it was dropped for a little while, but that's now been added back in, so you might notice some slight differences in the animations now if you look a little bit closer. All of these tweaks, minus the grenade UI, are slated to arrive in the spring update along with various other fixes. If you missed my video from earlier on in the week, talking about more of the grenade changes and some of the medic buffs that are coming along, I'll link that down in the description for you. And as with the first monthly update, starting in May, the spring update needs to drop between now and the end of April. And considering DICE always update their games on a Tuesday, like most other companies, that leaves the 18th of April or the 25th of April as likely update days. And if I was going to place a bet, I'd go for the 25th of April. And that leaves DICE just over 2 weeks to wrap everything up into a nice little download for us. So there you go, you're pretty much up to date with Battlefield 1. Thank you very much for watching. I'd like to know what you think about some of these changes down below in the comments section. Maybe you're a pilot and you're a little bit concerned about those AA changes and the infantry now have a little bit more power against you, or maybe you're an infantry player and you're jumping for joy because you now have at least a chance against some of those fighter pilots. I'll be down there reading as many as I can, but until next time, my name is Westie, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.